We are going to move into a space to now create. I'm really honored and excited to introduce Dr. Dulce and her lifelong commitment and passion to create and to see life as art and to see healing as art and art as a pathway towards healing. And so thank you so much for being with us. I want to hand it over to you, Dr. Dulce. And yes, we're in for a treat.
Gracias. Buenos días, buenas tardes, good morning, good afternoon. I am very visual, and so I'm picturing us across the US connecting in our little squares, in our little spaces, in a circle. And so I'm going to begin with just really briefly centering us in our corazón, in our heart. Because what we're going to delve into now is such a powerful practice, and I want you to fully embody what we will do together in community. And so I encourage you and I invite you to go ahead and get comfortable in your space. Let go of maybe what you have in your hands. Let go of maybe what you're carrying in your mind, what you're carrying in your body, the heaviness that you might be carrying in your heart. And I want you to just go ahead and sit comfortably in your space. And if you feel comfortable and safe, you can go ahead and close your eyes. And I invite you to feel the energy of your feet being pulled by gravity towards Mother Earth. And that you may visualize your feet getting grounded and rooted and breaking through the soil. That you become more rooted and grounded to the elements, to Mother Earth. That you remember that you are being carried by your ancestors. That you remember that you have profound and deep roots that came before you and are going to come after you. That we are here to heal 7 generations back and 7 generations forward. That the work that we are doing is not in vain. I invite you to bring your energy up your legs and your thighs and your bottom. Your back being held by wherever you are. And I invite you to place your hands over your heart, taking a deep breath in through your nose, and out through your mouth. Just feeling your heartbeat, el tambor de tu corazón, the drum that is your heart. La brújula, that is our heart. The compass, that is our heart, that reminds us of why we chose to take the path that we have chosen to serve. You may feel your heart beating slow or beating fast. But the most important thing is that, and you remember that your heart is here always, calling you back to its center, reminding you, keep going, even when it's hard. Even when you lose hope, I'm here. I'm beating for you. And we don't have to think about it. We don't have to add it to our to-do list or download an app. We don't have to connect to anything. It is here within us, waiting for us to reconnect to that power within us. And I invite you to take a deep breath in through your nose and out through your mouth. And as we step into this new part of our journey together in this beautiful sacred space, I encourage you to just be open. Allow ourselves to continue to break open. Sometimes when our heart bleeds and it breaks, it's an opening, it's an invitation to go deeper. And one last time, in through our nose and out through our mouth. And taking your time, when you feel comfortable and ready, you can open your eyes. Thank you. Gracias. Oh man, we have 40 minutes for me to share a practice that I've been doing for over 17 years. It began in 2006. And if you see behind me, this journal here, it took me 10 years to complete. And so when we talk about this journal that I will share with you all, I want you to remember that this is a longitudinal study of you. That this is a place that will hold your dreams, your visions, your ideas, your thoughts, and also just a place to create. So I invite you now, if you can, go ahead and bring, if you have the art journal or paper, or literally just a paper and pen or stickers, to bring it forth. You might even have some of this paper for texture. And if you don't have any of that, all good. Bring the Post-its, bring the markers. But today we're going to talk about the metamorphoses of the butterfly and you. So I'm going to take you through a journey. As I'm taking you through this journey, I want you to think about your life. Everything that you had to go through to get to this moment in time. All the highs, all the lows, all the joy, all the pain, to get you here. Now, as I'm sharing this journey, you can create art or you could just listen, whatever feels good for you. And so the journey of the mariposa begins with the little tiny egg, el huevo, the egg of the mariposa. And it reminds me of our beginnings, of maybe a thought or an idea that comes into our mind and we think, wait a minute, how am I going to do that? That scares me. I don't know. No, I'm just going to push it aside. I'm going to leave it there. But sometimes that thought, that idea, that yearning in our soul is incessant and does not leave us alone. And for the mariposa, that little egg is the beginning. And what happens is that out of that tiny egg comes a caterpillar, la oruga. And out of that egg, the caterpillar emerges very tiny. And what it does is it eats the egg of which it was born. And so it reminds me of our own journey, our family, the home we were raised in, that we carry that story within us. Sometimes we carry good things of our lives, and sometimes we carry pain of our lives, of where we were raised. And so what happens is that the stage of the caterpillar, la oruga, essentially all it has to do is move and eat and become bigger and bigger and plumper. And so this is where deep transformation takes place, in that the caterpillar is moving in the direction of growth, of emerging, but also of death, of letting go, of shedding. And so this is a time of learning about who we are, but also learning about ways that we would like to change, things that no longer serve us, that we're ready to let go of. Maybe relationships that at one time were nourishing, but now they no longer serve us in the way that they used to. And it's okay to say, I have to move on in spite of that pain. And so the shedding of the caterpillar is ongoing. So you grow and you transform and you shed, and it goes on and on and on. And nature knows when it's time to then step into the stage of the chrysalis, la crisálida. And what's fascinating about the monarca in particular is that the chrysalis was always within that caterpillar. Essentially, what it does is it breaks open, allowing for that chrysalis to emerge. And so it makes me think of our essence, the medicina, the magic that we carry within us that sometimes we hide because we don't know how people are going to respond or react to what is our core, unique inner being. And so this is a time of deep introspection, of pain, of darkness, of shadow work, where we really get to know who we are. And so essentially the caterpillar is mush inside of that chrysalis. And there is deep pain in that, but from that pain, I truly believe is where our purpose emerges. Now I can say that now that I'm past that pain or moments of pain, but when I'm in it, it feels like there is no way out. But we have to sustain in that and grow through it. And so what happens when the time is ripe and ready, a butterfly, you can see actually the chrysalis becomes clear and you begin to see the wings of the monarca. And so a tiny little opening emerges from that chrysalis, and the mariposa has to struggle as it comes out of that chrysalis to emerge. And so if all of us were walking in the forest and we see a chrysalis struggle and we say, pobrecita, poor thing, let me help it out. Let me open it so that the butterfly can come out. We're actually doing it a disservice because the butterfly will fall and will not be able to fly. So that struggle, that pain to emerge is what will allow the wings to expand to fly. And so when we are in those dark spaces, when we are struggling, we have to remember, I'm going to get through this. I will get through this. And so the mariposa comes out in its complete new form. And it takes time. So the butterfly doesn't come out of the chrysalis and take off and start flying. It takes time to allow itself to slowly open up its wings to then take off and fly. And so this is a complete transformation, transmutation into a new form, a new way of being, from that tiny egg into the mariposa. And what I really like to share out is that we can be in different stages at the same time, and we must have grace with ourselves that in one part of our lives, we might feel like a butterfly, I got this, I'm good. But in another part, we might go back to feeling like that caterpillar or that egg, and it's scary, or we're in the chrysalis. And so have grace with yourself and with each other, and compassion, and saying, we're going through it, and we're going through it continuously. And so I always want to encourage us to remember that la metamorfosis, the metamorphosis is never ending and ongoing until our last breath. And then we emerge into who knows what. Sometimes I can't wait to find out what the next phase is. So I encourage us to remember in those moments while we're serving the community, while we're out in the schools, or we have our clients, to have grace with ourselves, to nurture ourselves in all the stages that we can be in simultaneously. Next slide. So I want you to think, and I want you to pause and just take time to visualize. Where do you take note of your dreams? How do you bring them from the dream world into real life? What do you do to nurture those dreams that you carry, that are within you? Where do you place them? Where do you make room for creativity? And so today, in community together, we will create. Next slide. And so the butterfly emerges from its cocoon. Your inner beauty is manifested by your healthy character. Como una mariposa emerge de su crisálida, Tu carácter saludable se manifiesta de por dentro. So I had shared that I have been working on my love journals and I finally owned them. I used to just call them the love journal, but I realized, wait, this is what I've created. So it's Doctora Dulce's love journal. And it's taken time to step into that reality that this is my dream that I'm now sharing with all of you. This is such a gift. And I feel so honored to be able to be here with you all to share this with you. Next slide. So these are some ways, because some people think, well, Dulce, what am I going to do with this huge art journal that has blank pages? What am I going to put in them? And here I gift you some ideas. And so if you're interested, you can go ahead and take a picture so that you can then begin your journey with your love journal. And you can buy a small one or a big one or an extra large one. It all depends on what you are interested in creating. And so essentially, this love journal will become the book of your life. What somebody shared with me that really impacted me, she said, this is the legacy that we're leaving behind. These are the journals that our future generations will open and look into and say, wow, that was my great-great-great-grandmother. That was my great-great-great-grandfather, my auntie, my uncle, my friend, my community member. And so through these journals, you're sharing a piece of who you are, who you were, who you are becoming. And so something that's very important is for you to write the date in which you created your art page. And as I shared, my first art journal took me 10 years to complete. So there is no rush. And this is a place to slow down, to dream, to rewire our brain, to envision a future for future generations and for ourselves in a good way, to create a world that can be more just and to ignite the flame of hope that we must carry over and over. My second art journal, which was a little bit smaller, I didn't buy such a big one the second time, it took me 4 years to complete. And I'm currently working on my third one. Next slide. So this is your invitation. This is your call to action. I invite you to choose a word or a theme or a feeling that you hope to embody this new school year. Some of you might already do this, where you choose a word or a theme in the beginning of the year that's going to guide you. And for some of you, this might be the first time. In 2008, I don't know where these ideas come from, y'all, but I had this thought, I want to choose a word that's going to guide me. And I chose the word joy. And I was very intentional about how I was going to bring joy into my life. And so I created a page in my love journal with the word and different ways that I was going to engage in my life to invite more joy. And so the word that you choose or the theme or the feeling, I want you to think, what does that evoke in your mind, body, heart, and spirit? We're connecting all of who you are. And most importantly, what actionable ways can you commit to nurturing, restoring, and sustaining your mind, body, and spirit, especially those days where they seem extra challenging? So I'm giving you here a huge gift, un regalo. I'm giving you here a choice to choose what you are going to embody this new school year. And so this is the time when you can go ahead and bring out your art supplies, your stickers, your glitter, whatever you have to create. Next slide. So these are some images in my love journal. And the one on the left says, what if sharing your sacred dreams are an inspiration for others. And the art on the right says, a voice for the heart. And so these love journals are truly a way to process beyond words. Unless you're a poet, then go ahead and write some poetry in that love book. But it's a way to process and integrate what's going on within you through art. Next slide. So now let us create. This is my favorite part. So for the next 10 minutes, we are going to create. We're going to play some beautiful music for you all. This is Danit. And again, we will come back in 10 minutes. There's different time zones here, so I can't say the time, but we're going to create for 10 minutes and go ahead and again, choose your word or theme or feeling that you're going to embody or intend to embody this new school year. And then actionable ways that you're going to bring that into your life. Thank you. How might this love journal replenish you and sustain your spirit and ignite that hope that we need to carry? Because I like to call ourselves hope dealers, that we're giving out hope, hopefully, right? And that we have to continuously sustain ourselves to keep doing the good work in the best way that we can possible. So I want you to think of some ways that you can engage with the love journal, whether that be weekly, monthly. If you begin to create a collective practice with others, maybe just another person, or maybe 5 or more, and that you make time to go inward and deepen the relationship with yourself, and then strengthen your relationship with the community. Next slide. And so I want to leave you with this image, but I also want to leave you with the feeling. So if you can, I invite you to stand up. If you can't, no worries, just stay seated. I want you to open up your arms and bring in all the beautiful teachings and the wisdom and the knowledge into our heart. And then slowly go ahead and open that up and give it to all those that you come in contact with, but always, always, always remembering to bring it back to yourself. And so as always, I love to share that through love, we transform. And if you're interested in sharing with me the page that you created or images of your love journal, you can find me on Instagram at Doctora Corazon, DRACRZN. I love to see your art and how you embody this practice into your life and how it shifts things for you. So thank you so much for this time. And thank you, Ori, for creating this beautiful space for us to remind us that as we nurture ourselves, we nurture our community. Yes, gracias.